Oh, did they need that? My goodness. Hey, you doing, everybody? Thanks for joining us for what was Benji Ritholtz. I'm going to start off with a question to you that is completely unfair. I'm putting you on the spot. That was the most needed Knick win. You know what? I'm actually going to answer my own question. See if you could think. Since when? I'm thinking of one, and I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know that I have to think that long ago for one that is comparable in terms of how much they needed to win.
I can't think of any of recent memory. No.
I would argue.
I mean, games haven't been important for most of the last 20 years, in fairness, but in the last 3, yeah, that one feels as big as they come.
The only one that I would put up there in terms of needed to win and gotta win is the Cavs game earlier this season after the Dallas debacle. And how funny is it? I mean, man, sports is a funny being. They don't get Donovan Mitchell in the offseason. They and then their season, you could argue, turned once, I think, on that Cavs game because it started the 8-game win streak. And who knows? We'll see what happens after this game. It's one game. Feels huge right now. I can't express how big this win feels because I don't know about you. I know it's 4 losses in a row. Mitch is out. It felt like the wheels were starting to come off. Did it not for you as well?
I had a thought on that possession when RJ got into the lane, stopped, had about 3 Cavs on him. Julius is standing on the wing waiting for the pass, and RJ goes up with it, misses. Down come the Cavs and score. They stretch the lead to, I think, 8. I don't remember exactly. Maybe that's wrong in terms of the amount, but they stretched the lead.
It might have that might have been you know what? You're right. It was 69-61, I believe, when they went to that timeout.
Yeah, so Julius Julius is furious with RJ, rightfully so, although I wish it was a bit less demonstrative about it. But okay. They go to the bench, and my thought was, man, that's a kind of play and the kind of reaction to that play that could really tear a team apart, especially with the way things are going. And they come out of that timeout, and Julius makes the same exact pass to RJ that RJ failed to make to Randle. The same exact pass from the same spot to the same wing. RJ makes the 3, and the Knicks get back in the game after Randle makes another huge play inside. And man, yeah, and now you're here where you're coming off, as you said, I think the biggest win of the year, certainly, and the biggest win of recent memory.
It feels absolutely massive right now because that Cavs team is. Are they a contender? Are they right outside the contender circle? I mean, we could sit here and we could have that conversation. I'm not interested in having that conversation right now. They're good. When they have all their pieces on the floor, they're good. They're really good. I think that you could argue that they're great, and they've missed a lot of games this year between Garland and Mitchell's missed some games, and Allen's missed some games, and Mobley's missed some games, and yet they still have, I believe, the 4th best net rating in the league. They have the 2nd best net rating in the East. They're right up there for one of the best records in the East. I mean, this team is a beast. And not only that, and boy, were they beastly. Like all 4, I think all of their big 4 played pretty well tonight. I mean, Mitchell took a while to get going, but when he got going, we were sitting there watching in the 4th on playback, and we were like, it's coming. And it just kept coming and coming. He had the first 3 threes in the 4th, and then they made some plays down the stretch. And I want to talk about the end, but then I want to go back to talk about the guy who they wouldn't have gotten to the end with, and that's Julius Randle. Give me a little Isaiah Hartenstein love. Come on.
Redempstein!
I love it.
For that play, because, man, the MSG gods were like writing this as their final chapter until like Mitchell coming down the lane to tie the game. The guy they passed up on to come up on a dunk. He was going to dunk on Hartenstein's head. That's what I thought when he first made the move. To tie the game, send it to overtime. The Knicks would surely lose that game in overtime.
Or how about this? How about the and one?
And one over Hartenstein's head, the failed free agent acquisition that they got instead of Mitchell. The writing was on the wall. The gods had declared it. And then, man, for Hartenstein to get up there and make and block that shot.
Stay vertical.
Just an unbelievable play. And honestly, he was great tonight. He deserves all the love. He was great throughout the game. Maybe a couple of missed rebounds that frustrate me with him sometimes, like on the free throw where somehow Brunson's the one. But like overall, what a performance by him. He was great and he deserves all the love, and good for him because obviously it's been a tough stretch. So it's good to see.
Yeah. And like, you never know what players do and don't see and what they read and what they hear. And they probably, let me rephrase that. They certainly hear and read and see a lot more than they admit to reading and hearing and seeing. Earlier today, Ringer story dropped. LA Clippers is interested in reacquiring their former backup center potentially, in Isaiah Hartenstein. And now he comes out tonight and has the game of the year. That is certainly not lost on me as we are celebrating this, and especially since Mitchell Robinson is going to be out, I would assume, until the All-Star break, although who knows, maybe he comes back a few games before. They needed something like this specifically from one of their centers, and they got it tonight from him. There were some other good contributions that I want to get your thoughts on before you get out of here, but so I think based on how I reacted to Julius Randle last year, I've been going a little over the top, perhaps at times, in showing him some love this year because I feel like he has been at least trying to do the things that many of us asked him to do and wanted to see from him last year. Tonight, was he perfect? No, because when is Julius Randle ever perfect? But I don't know that there is such a thing as going over the top with the love for Randle tonight because, I mean, you want to talk about putting a team on your back and making big plays. I don't know that he could do it much better than he did.
100%. And he shot the ball great in the first quarter. And he has these quarters sometimes, especially in the first, where he just like fills it up. And often it kind of goes south from there because he starts to rely on the jumper a little too much. And sometimes it betrays him. To see him battle down low the way he did, and he got blocked a couple times. Yep. Thought he played through contact, didn't get the call. He doesn't. On a couple of them. I mean, it's Allen and Mobley down there, just the Twin Towers. It's tough. Julius is only 6'9", as strong as he is. But man, he had some buckets. There was that one where someone took the ball from him. He took it right back. He shoved a couple guys. He went up and finished. Just tough buckets. And I thought his passing overall was very good. A couple of boneheaded ones, but overall, just getting into the lane, finding Grimes in the corner a couple of times, finding RJ up top, like in the lane, making the right play. Defensively fought, it's not always perfect in the drop when he's in drop. I shouldn't say that. It's never perfect when he's playing drop, but overall he fought. He switched on to Mitchell on that last possession. I know he got blown by. It's tough, but at least he didn't let him have that three, and he let the help take care of the rest.
Trust your help.
You can't lose the game on a two. Right. Nope. So you can't, and he had already made 2 step back threes in that quarter. So you really got to make sure he doesn't shoot that. And overall, an amazing game. He was fantastic. He is certainly the first star.
Yeah. And I, like you say it, okay, he has these high scoring quarters, and oftentimes in this year, at least, they've been in the first quarter. I know fourth quarter buckets are worth more than first quarter buckets by and large, but in a game like this, where they were reeling, absolutely freaking reeling, to come out and do it tonight. And yes, is that first quarter a big reason why he ended up with 36 points on 21 shots, 8 of 12 from deep, got to the line 7 times, 13 rebounds. Yeah, it was a big part of it, but it still counts.
Did you say 8 of 12 from deep?
He was 8 of 12 from deep tonight.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
God.
That's a real number. I did not make that number up.
I didn't appreciate that as was happening. My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, look, he says, I guess it was, I forget if it was Johnny Bryan or one of the other assistant coaches said to him before, at the start of camp, you got to shoot it this year. And he has. And is it always perfect? No. Are there times he could be a little over reliant? Yes. But by and large, I do think that that's been a massive, part of his offensive rebound from last year, as you've talked about as much as anyone. A couple more quick hitters before I get you out of here. I feel like we have to go to Quickley next. Yeah. Good to have him back.
Oh man. Yeah, we talked about it on the playback a bit, having him and Grimes to match up on the two, they're a unique team in that they play two really quick small guards, and it's tough to match up with, but to have the flexibility to go with Quickley and Grimes there to guard those two. And they went to RJ late, which I thought was an interesting decision. And RJ made a couple of good plays and then got called for that foul, which I don't think was a good call, but the flexibility to have all three of those guys. And if you have a bigger two, you can get RJ in there. And if you have two small guys like this, you got IQ and Grimes. And I know Mitchell made a couple tough step backs over him. He was looking for that switch, but I thought that defense was great.
You tip your cap.
And one of them was on a broken play where they got the ball back after they got the initial stop. So like, man, he's so good. He's so important for them, obviously. And to have him back, like, I don't know how many straight minutes, despite having a bit of a bulky knee right now. So hopefully he rebounds and he's all right. But just invaluable, like an invaluable piece that just fills a lot of gaps for this team. He's and it's huge.
It's just never an accident. It feels like, or at this point, it cannot be considered an accident. It cannot be considered a coincidence that he just so happens to be out there when good things happen. Like, how often do the Knicks make a run, the Knicks make a push, and he's on the floor? Sure enough, he's team high plus 14 tonight in 27 minutes. 6 assists, by the way, in 27 minutes. And I'm happy also that, like, after, and you did the great thread after the Washington game, or the great clip package after the Washington game, showing like all the passes that weren't being made. Fairly certain this is I would have to go back and double check. Maybe Andrew could go back, could chuck it. Is this the first time all season they've had 25 or more assists in 3 straight games? Because they had 25 assists tonight on 37 made shots. It might not be. They may have done it before, but that's not something this team does a lot.
And you could see it from the tip. Like, it's just simple. It's nothing fancy or complicated. It's like when they're really good at collapsing the defense. They have 3 guys who are really good at getting into the paint. And you can get into the paint and take a tough shot, and they make a lot of them, especially Brunson.
Yep.
Or you can stop and make the easy kick out, and that generates threes, and it generates the next drive off a kick, which generates another pass and an open shot. Like, it's simple, really simple drive and kick offense. But when it's executed correctly, you can get high assist games. And I thought there was a concerted effort tonight, in the last 2 games, really, to just make that pass. And it leads to a really positive chain reaction, and the offense benefits.
I don't want to end on a down note, so I will. Yes, Andrew, do you have an answer for us?
So I have an answer, and the number has to be 25.
25 or more in 3 straight, yeah.
So then this is the first time it's happened. If you said 24, the first 4 games of the season, it was 24. It was 28, 29, 24, 26.
Okay.
And then there's another stretch. If it's 24 in the OKC, the road trip. So the OKC game the last game before the road trip, 25, and the first 2 games of the road trip, 26 and 24.
So they do not do this a lot. Okay, couple quick hitters, and then I promise I'm not going to keep you. Obi Toppin, 10 minutes. Did a lot in those 10 minutes.
Man, you know what? Credit to him.
Yeah.
Credit to him. There are a lot of ways to go about the Obi conversation. Ultimately, as I said, like,
all of which I'm sick of.
Either Tibbs, Obi, or Randle have to go for all 3 of them to succeed here. Like, you can't. The 3 of them is just not going to work. Yeah. But for the purposes of this year, this team, and if this is how he's going to be used, can you, in that small amount of time, be a tremendous energy guy? And what was lacking when he first came back from the injury, and maybe it was just because he was just getting back, like, where were the extra hustle plays? Where were the fast break buckets, getting out on the break? Like, it just didn't seem like he had that pop that is so essential for a guy who's playing so few minutes. Like, you have to come into the game and you have to just instantly be a spark. That's your job, for better or for worse. And I think it's mostly for worse for his sake. But I do think it is what it is. This is your role. It's going to be what it's going to be. Now, to make the best of it, you have to play like this. And obviously making shots helps. But, like, the overall energy of his game was huge tonight. Those 10 minutes, I mean, the bench won this game. They were plus a lot tonight.
Yes, they were all plus. It wasn't just Quickley, I should say.
Yeah, and Obi was a huge part of it, making shots, getting out on the break, making some defensive deflections. Man, huge minutes for him.
And RJ, I want to show RJ love because he did make those 2 defensive plays late on Donovan Mitchell. Those were huge. They don't win the game without those plays. Good job by him in those moments. In what was maybe not the best game for RJ, but I like you said it during the playback. Good on-ball defense, I think, throughout the night.
And a challenging matchup for him. And I thought he overall
sure.
did a good job on Garland. I really did. Yeah.
Yeah, and and look, there are nights where like that's what we all want RJ to embrace more of. Like if you need to be a role player on a given night, like live up to that challenge, because there's going to be nights where that's what is asked of you. Last but not least, I don't want to let you go before because you were talking about it throughout the night. Little signs from Deuce McBride, signs of growth.
Yeah. More and more, there's just like it's subtle improvement. He's certainly not a good offensive player right now. I'm not implying that he is. But this is what sometimes like development's hard and sometimes it takes time. And this is the benefit of playing guys through early career struggles. And I think we're seeing significant improvement in his driving kick game, like a bit more decisive. He's getting into the paint now. He was struggling to even get there, even off the catch over the first many games of the season. And now he's getting there and he's displaying what I think we all knew he had, which from his time in college, and you see it in the G League, like he's got a very good passing game, but the passing game doesn't matter. It's not effective if you don't get into positions to pass. And now he's in the paint and we're seeing some really nice passes and kickouts and assists. And his pass to Obi in the corner was a lefty hook pass off the dribble, live dribble. That's not an easy pass, offhand. And I do want to give him credit. I want to give him credit because he's working through a tough time. And look, development's painful sometimes, and you're going to go through struggles. And good on the organization for staying with him. And I think you're starting to see the benefits slowly but surely. Now, are they going to make a move? And then there goes that. I don't know, but for now, what I'm watching is a guy who's slowly improving in the ways that you want to see. Hopefully, the shot starts to go a little bit, but I like to see that improvement.
Benji, you're the best in the business. I love when you come on here to get me started on these things. Thank you. Goodness gracious. Still
feels good, no?
Yeah,
a little positive energy. Hey, super chatters, let's be positive tonight. Great win. Great Redempstein.
So whether you say this was the biggest win of the season or maybe you could even say maybe like the Utah win after the terrible OKC game that we were there to witness in person, my goodness gracious, or the other Cleveland game, we could have the discussions about which was the most important win of the season. This was their best. I think this was their best win. This was the best game you could argue. Maybe not that they've played, but against a team that took it to them and looked like it was going to take it from them in the fourth. They withstood.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's the best. They're healthy. You beat a healthy Cavs team. I think it's the best team they've beaten.
They needed they didn't have a signature win. This was a signature win.
Signature win. And, to get that 3 games over now?
They're back to 3 games over.
Back to 3 games over. And again, I agree with you, and I've heard you say it many times. Like, you got to get the schedule's tough. You're missing your center. You got to get into the All-Star break above 500. And this was a massive win towards that effort because the going's getting tough here with the schedule. To bank this win to get 3 games over is just huge. So great job by them. Great way to hold on. And by the way, they made free throws down the stretch.
Yes, they did. Brunson, 2 big late free throws. Hey, needed those.
About time.
All right. Benji Ritholtz, you're the man, dude.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Peace out. Okay, we are going to roll into moment of the game, Mr. Andrew Claudio. I have some.
You got some candidates?
I think some fairly obvious candidates.
I'd say so.
Yeah. I'm gonna go backwards.
Okay.
I think I say Hartenstein block on Donovan Mitchell should perhaps be a candidate for moment of the game. What do you think?
Let's see what else you got.
Okay, that's one. The Julius 3 to put them back up 103-100 after they failed to get the rebound off of the missed free throw in what ended up being a 4-point possession for the Cavs when the Knicks were up by 4 with 2:51 left. And I don't know if the third candidate should be the Hartenstein putback dunk or one of the RJ strips or defensive plays of Mitchell. What do you think?
I think it should be an RJ strip of Mitchell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pick your RJ strip of Mitchell in the last did both of those come in the last minute? They were definitely in the last minute and a half. Yeah. Okay.
It was in that stretch where Quickley came out after the timeout and then RJ came in and it was back-to-back possessions. So
yeah, it was in so it was 118 left to preserve it at 103-100, and then there was another one that I don't. Oh, well, actually, you know what? They credited Hartenstein with the other block on Donovan Mitchell, also to keep it 103-100 with 47 seconds left. So, but
that was the one that Jeremy and I were wondering, could they have called it a foul? And then the replay it showed no, because of the angle that Hartenstein had of his hand over the ball, it forced Mitchell to lose it before any contact was made.
No issues with the refereeing tonight, other than well, listen, you
the overall
okay,
that I agree with.
The foul on Garland and then the no call on Randle, even though they clearly, I think it was Mobley racked Randle across the arm when he was going up. Those weren't great. Other than that,
yeah,
we've seen some pretty shittily. Is that a word? Shittily.
It is now.
It is now officiated games of late, and it was overall though. I'm not going to complain about this one.
What score did Julius's three make it?
I believe it was 103-100.
Okay,
which would have been that was the last basket they made, and then the Jalen Brunson free throws that we just talked about. Big. Quick personal injury report, courtesy of our very, very, very good friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. The Knicks only had one injury tonight. Mitchell Robinson, as we've been talking about, very notable injury. They withstood it. So that is the main takeaway from the personal injury report tonight. Also, Emmanuel Quickley made it back. It was a game time decision, gave it a go. Andrew, if you have a moment to look it up and you can put it in the chat or come on and let me know, how many consecutive minutes did Emmanuel Quickley play in this game in the second half? I would be curious to know what that number is. Don't forget, if you have a possible case and you want to talk to someone about it, talk to a veteran. Do not talk to a rookie. Don't talk to Trevor Keels. Talk to who's our most veteran player in the rotation right now. I guess it's Randle, right?
Yes, it would be Julius Randle.
My goodness, yeah. Talk to a veteran. Talk to Julius Randle.
She should mention there was one more person out tonight, and it's a cause for congratulations, Evan Fournier.
Oh yes, but that's not well. Listen,
he's out tonight.
Hold on.
Because you would have experience with this. So
I have sustained many a personal injury to my pride because of my children. Mm-hmm. So it falls under this. Congratulations, Evan Fournier, father of I believe it was a baby boy, right?
I think so. Yeah, his second child though.
Second child.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, someone told me before we had our second that the second makes it exponentially harder than the first. I don't know if I would agree with that, but it gets a lot tougher. Anyway, that's it for you'll know what that's like someday. That's it for the Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury report. Don't forget, contact them 212-366-6100. Once again, Weiss and Rosenblum personal injury attorneys 212-366-6100, or you can visit them at weissandrosenblum.com. Should we do the thing?
Last thing before we get to the super chats. Emmanuel Quickley came into the game for RJ Barrett with 4:28 left in the third quarter. So that's 4:28 there, and exited the game with about 3 and change left. Let me find the exact spot. Exited the game for RJ Barrett with,
I think that was under 3. I think it was
so he played more. It was with 1:31 left in the game.
So he played 15 consecutive minutes. Does that math check out?
On a bad more than that.
Listen.
Oh, no. Your math is right. So 10 and a half minutes plus 4.5 minutes. So that's 15 consecutive minutes.
The thing that I wanted to mention before when Benji was talking about Quickley, and I think so there was a report that came out today from, I forget who it was from, but something about like the Suns are kicking the tires on potential point guards of the future for them, and they're looking to maybe make a trade, right? And Quickley's name came up as someone that they were, again, potentially interested in. I'm pretty sure all the other names on that list that were on there were like former All-Stars or guys who had made at least one All-Star team. And then there's Emmanuel Quickley. that should say what the rest of the league thinks of this young player, and how cool it is for him to be mentioned in that same breath as you know. I'm happy at least one team out there thinks of him as a possible potential point guard replacement for their current first ballot Hall of Famer.
I'd agree. Yeah.
It'd be nice if the Knicks continue to recognize his value. Okay, let's get to it. I'm sure we're going to have an active one tonight.
Should be fun.
Yeah, I hope so. First, yes, of course. It is my boy. What's up, Mac? It's your boy, Frank, from Patreon. Shout out to our Monroe tier patrons or higher. This is going to be a much more fun town hall tomorrow. It's time that we have a serious conversation with the RJ cultists about how Quickley needs to be starting over him. It's clear why this front office wanted him out. Frank, you start us off on a negative foot after the best win of the season. Come on. Come on, Frank. Now, listen. These are both young players. They are asked to do different things on this team. They have been asked to do different things on this team. I just realized that the poster behind me is askew because I jumped up and I think I slammed into it after they won this game. What's the meme with the little girl? Why not both, right? Do I think both of these players are destined to be Knicks for the long term? No, I don't. I think one of them is likely to get traded at some point. If you asked me to bet on it now, I'd probably bet that one of them maybe gets traded this summer. If I had to wager, but I don't have to, so I'm not going to. But look, Quickley's a really good player. RJ has the capability of being a great player. If you want to say Quickley has the capability of being a great player too, I still believe I'm the biggest RJ hater there is. Obviously, ask anybody. I think his ceiling is higher than Quickley. I think he still has a ceiling that he has not even touched yet, and the prospect that that he would do that in another uniform would be really upsetting because kid was drafted by the Knicks 3rd overall. Wants to be here, seems to love being here. We don't have to pit them against each other. They both. Let's focus on this year. This team needs both of them this year. So let's focus on that. Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? Great to hear from you. Never thought I'd say this. RJ doesn't fit with Randle. Oh my God, what is this with the theme? And it ain't Randle. That's the problem. That Mitchell trade would have been that bad. Wouldn't have been that bad, excuse me. I would sign up for Brunson, Mitchell, and Randle right now. Look, probably regardless of what happens this trade deadline, this summer, next year, we're going to be talking about the Mitchell trade that was not done for a very long time. Donovan Mitchell, barring, and by the way, for anybody who was watching the end of that game and saw him on the floor, he apparently got up under his, or maybe he was helped off, but he got off the floor. Doesn't seem like it was that bad. I hope it wasn't bad. We don't want to wish injury on anybody, especially a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who was great for basketball. And what I was going to say is, barring some sort of serious injury, which again, we obviously no one is expecting, nor does anyone want. Donovan Mitchell's on track to make the Hall of Fame, which is why we're gonna talk about the fact that they did not trade for him, regardless of what they do or don't do for the rest of for a very long time, because they clearly had the opportunity to do that, and they were at the 2-yard line, and they decided, they weren't prepared to do what it needed to be done to get it over the goal line. And someone else came and took it away from them. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. Thanks to KFS for playback tonight. Great benefit for Patreon members. Thank you for the shout out, Robert. Hashtag 53 wins. Still alive, baby. Still alive. 53. Let's go get him. Hannibal Miles, can we at least get the paper plate back up if we're not getting the Randle? It's not a jersey. It's the slam poster. That's the thing. Man, all the way back around. All the way back around for what is a career in New York that is unrivaled by anything that I have seen in my nearly 40 years watching and paying attention to sports in this city. Who in God's name has had a career in New York like Julius Randle? The moment at the end of the third quarter where he was kind of soliciting cheers from the crowd and raising his arms and kind of pumping up the crowd, that was so cool to see. And I'm really happy for him because, my God, I know it wasn't just me, but I don't know many people who went harder on him last year than I did. Dude's been awesome. He's done everything that you could reasonably ask of him. And, Brunson's kind of now, receded back a little bit. They needed, biggest performance of the year. Let's just say that. Biggest performance of the year in a game they absolutely needed. So, all the credit in the world to him. Thanks, Hannibal. Sam Garcia's dad. What's going on, Sam Garcia's dad? iHeart's best game as a Knick? Absolutely. Without question. Zero question. There is life after Mitch. Lots of roses to hand out tonight. Completely agree. That's why I wanted to get Benji on here and go through all of the guys who deserve to be talked about and deserve to be praised, because there were a lot of them. And hopefully this could spur him on, because, again, they need good center play until Mitch gets back. Passable center play. And tonight, what iHeart gave you was more than passable. Thanks, Sam Garcia's dad. Appreciate it. Ja so focused. What's going on, Ja? Great win. Clutch moments from the hashtag mid-3, hashtag 4 to go. Yes. Can we make this a thing, right? I said, I've been saying it now, a few games. I don't care how you get them. I don't care if the Celtics decide to sit everybody on Thursday night, or if the Nets decide to give Kyrie Irving a night off. And that's how however you do it, get to the All-Star break at 500. Just get to the All-Star break at 500. That's all we need. This was 4 to go. Need it. Thank you, Ja. Kevin, what's going on, my man? Kevin Danishevsky. Julius is turning in a special year. I'm going to come out and say it. I think he could be the second best player on a championship team if his head is right. It's still an interesting fit to envision. What I will say, and this is, if you're talking big picture conversation for the Knicks and things that have developed and perhaps changed since the offseason, the fact that Julius Randle's shot has come back around, and I think we can dispense with the empty gyms conversation that, obviously made a lot of the rounds last year. The dude is he the most consistent three-point shooter in the world? No, he's not. But he's a guy that on this volume, shooting threes at this level of accuracy, which is just good enough when you shoot this many threes, it becomes a lot easier to envision him alongside a true number one, a real number one. And then you get Brunson in there slotting in as what Brunson should be, which is the point guard who can give you instant offense when you need, can just give you the steady the ship when you need. He's great in the locker room, great leader, all of those things. Good off his shooting has really come around, making some pull-ups. He's good with spot ups, like all those things. Yeah, I'll talk myself into that. Depends on who the number one is, but I'll talk myself into that. Absolutely, I'll talk myself into that. Good comment by you, Kev. Appreciate that. Next up, Robert Cross with another one. I farts. Is it fair and reasonable to say that I heart can use this game as a catalyst moving forward? Took the words out of my mouth. Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. Hashtag 53 wins. Yeah, and it was nice that we saw it tonight, and it was, you had to laugh about it. We laughed about it on playback when iHeart was at the top of the arc, and they got Deuce. He hit Deuce on a cut. not an open layup, but a great pass from Hartenstein that allowed Deuce to take a point-blank shot, and he made it. Like, Hartenstein can do stuff like that. It's the stuff he did with the Clippers all of last year, and he has not done this year. Now, inevitably, it's going to turn to a conversation is that because the coaching staff is telling him not to do that? Or is that just because they're, not doing the things that they should be doing, the backup unit, when they're in there? Sure enough, one play later, he tries a long outlet pass and it goes out of bounds. So it's like, it's a give and take. The more he passes, the more he's allowed to create, the more you're going to get some good and some bad. There's no question he needs to be used in a different role than he's being used in. But I think the big thing tonight, defensively, he showed up. He needs to be, I said it after the last game, he needed to be better. He was better tonight. So good job by him. Hope it starts something good. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? A lot of players get the calls. Randle didn't get multiple times in the paint tonight. Completely agree. We've talked about it. I know I talked about it recently. I forget in what venue, but he has become a very difficult player to officiate because he's so big and he's so strong, and it looks like guys bounce off of him. In that way, he's you want to compare it to Zion, you want to say he's like a mini Shaq, like whatever you want to say, but he's so big and he's so strong that refs aren't going to call it all the time. Anyway, didn't matter. Julius Randle is an all-star. # keep Randle. # keep IQ. I love the Randle love tonight. I've gone back and how many times have I flip-flopped? My God. Let's see. I was Brunson, then Randle, then back to Brunson, and now I'm back to Randle. So that's 1, 2, 3 flip-flops in a half a season. It's a lot of flipping, a lot of flopping. But yeah, I'm here for Randle All-Star. D-Zilla, what's going on, D-Zilla? Been a minute, always listening. Guys, we got one. Yes, we did. Some mistakes down the stretch, but they held their own. Big win. Who is this? Isaiah Hartenstein. Yes. Yeah, they made the two that I think were the ones that I guess so 3. They didn't get the rebound on the missed free throw that turned into the 4-point possession for the Cavs. That was big. The foul on Garland, which we could question the call. I didn't think it was a good call. Either that or Andrew was saying in the moment he didn't think they should have given him the continuation, even though they're always going to give him that continuation. And then what ended up looking like a pretty poor possession there on the one that the Knicks' last possession. That was not a great possession, even though I like that they ended up getting it to Julius under the basket, even with those two monsters there, because I thought he had been really good under the basket all year and in this game, although that's still a tough moment with those guys defending. So, yeah, mistakes, but came up with the plays needed to win. Good teams make plays to win. They made the plays to win. Good job by them. Thanks, D-Zilla. Good to hear from you. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. I'm now a Randle believer. Wow. So I've come back around. You've come back around. Woof. Anything is Kevin Garnett voice. Anything is possible. He is a core piece when the Knicks win the chip in 2026. # 53 wins. I don't think he's going anywhere. Because, like, look, we know the Knicks are going to attempt at some point to trade for a star player. And in a vacuum, look, situations are unique. You never know. If you're a team looking at the Knicks and looking at their roster, all things being equal, are you going to want to go for Julius Randle or are you going to want to go for RJ Barrett? I still think more teams will probably want to go for RJ Barrett, which sounds crazy because we've been sitting here for 2 months and talking about how Julius Randle's an all-star and he's turned it all around and he's back and the whole thing and he's efficient now and all this, that, and the other thing. And RJ, all I do is complain about RJ, But the difference, I think, is that Julius Randle's 28 years old. RJ Barrett is 22 years old. And you are going to think, right? That now I know, by the way, Robert, you don't want to get rid of RJ. So I understand. I'm probably giving you some consternation by even having this conversation. I'm trying to be realistic. And the notion that like Leon Rose is just going to roll forward with this, big three, mid three, whatever you want to call them in perpetuity, I'd be very surprised. And I don't think Brunson's going anywhere. So it's probably going to be one of the other two just because you're that's just how star trades get made. There's a centerpiece of the trade. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Crazier things have happened. Who knows? Maybe we're looking at all three of them next year and a star. It's not out of the bounds of reason, right? Handy M, what's going on, Handy M? Very important win. Thank you, Cavs. So, who picked 1 and 2? Well, that's 2 thumbs. What are we at now? I'm 6 and 7, right? Yeah, 6 and 7 on the year. I got an opportunity to tie it up next week. Giddy up. Let's do it. Serious question. What role do you think Johnny Bryant plays? Does he have much influence? Hashtag nice job, Hartenstein. I don't know. That would be me wagering a guess. I know he's the one that gets up and like appears to whisper sweet nothings in Tom Thibodeau's ear at moments throughout the game. I don't know what those sweet nothings are. He seems to have a very instrumental role, though. That's a good question for me to ask Fred Katz next time Fred Katz is on the pod, because I think that's the sort of thing that Fred Katz would know. I will ask him that. But I think he plays an important role as the associate head coach. And, I feel like he was brought in as kind of like the conduit to do the stuff that Tibbs clearly is not very good at, which is like the more personal part of the head coaching gig. So maybe that's a big part of Bryant. Like I mentioned it before, like Bryant, I'm pretty sure Randle has said on the record, Bryant was the one who talked to him like, hey, got to shoot more threes this year. Like you got to let it fly. Be confident. I'm sure he has those sorts of conversations with lots of players on the roster. So I think he plays a really important role here. Thanks, Hamdy. Appreciate the contribution very much. Josso focused with another one. RJ and Ihart with back-to-back defensive moments at the end. Redemption. Yeah, man. Because you could argue of the players currently in the Knicks rotation. Let's put Sims aside, right? Because he hasn't really had a full runway. You could argue Hartenstein and RJ are have been. I feel bad saying the worst defenders because like RJ has been tasked with defending really good players. Jalen Brunson is not. Jalen Brunson, they hide Jalen Brunson intentionally, and you see every night points like instances where you understand why they hide Jalen Brunson, because he's a small human being, and like even aside from being small, he's like not the best defender in the world. Like you could get him. He's not a glaring weak spot. He holds his own well enough for a guy his size, but like so I don't want to say they've been the worst defenders, but relative to expectation, I don't think there's any question that those guys have been the most disappointing defenders on the team, considering coming into this season, there were some statistics that painted Isaiah Hartenstein, as we talk about sometimes, as like the biggest uncovered gem in the league defensively. And then when you go to RJ, I mean, I don't need to talk about where our expectations were for RJ defensively, and he has not lived up to those expectations. So, yes, great job by them. I love that you brought that up. Wonderful point. Exhibition continues. Thank you for the contribution. The Knicks really want you to feel all the emotions each game. I was covering my eyes, man, down the stretch. I was covering my eyes. Specifically on the Brunson free throws. I'm not going to lie. You'll laugh, you'll cry to stop laughing. In all we go as far as Julius Shoy takes us. Is Julius Randle the most important player on this team? Man, it's a good question. I don't know. They're not good enough to have a guy that you say will go as far as player X takes us. Even Brunson. Like, I don't think Brunson's that good. Randle isn't that good. Like RJ's not that good. Quickley's like none of them are that good. They need to do it as a team, which is why I think the passing that we've seen over the last 3 games is so important. Which is why for them to gut out a defensive performance like this one against a good offensive team is so important. They need to do it together. If you're talking about a team that has their lack of superstar talent, and then you just like, again, we always have quibbles and they're going to lose, I'm sure another game at some point in the relatively near future. And then we're going to, all the quibbles will be back. Just like, look at the teams that have a better record than them. And look at the teams that have a worse record than them, like that are like right behind them in the standings. And look at the best player on all those teams. Like, there's no question, like, you could look at Brooklyn and be like, oh, they're going to go as far as Kevin Durant takes them. And the Bucks are going to go as far as Giannis takes them. And, like, up and down. Like, Atlanta's going to go as far as Trae Young takes them. The Knicks don't have a guy that is worthy of his name being in that sentence. And for them to be sitting here now at 26-23, 49 games into the season, 1 game back of 6th and a game and a half up on 8th. Someone needs to get some credit for that. I think it's credit to the team, credit to the front office, and maybe I've been talking for almost 50 minutes and I haven't mentioned them once. Maybe a little credit to the head coach.
To Johnny Bryant. Yes, the assistant coach, Johnny Bryant, maybe even Athella Harrington. Go down the list. The coaching staff.
The whole
staff. Crew. Yes, the whole coaching staff.
The whole.
That's what John was going to say. And that is all he was going to say. Terrible. I went for the joke. You're welcome. Jumping in, because it's time to do a quick reset. Please. And talk about where the Knicks advanced stats now stand. So, look, this was while I was off this weekend and experiencing the Knicks losing. I would do the refreshing of the stats and be like, damn, they keep climbing the offensive ranks, though, which is like tough to compute. That the problem with this team has not been their offense, regardless of what you want to say of how many assists they're getting and whatnot. They are up to 6th, or at least still at 6th.
Still at 6th. They
came offensive
into
rating. But like they've been like hovering around tied with Dallas is my point. Now Dallas is.
I have Dallas on right now. There's 100. There's 340 left in this game. Dallas already has 115 points, but they are losing to the Washington Wizards.
Yes, that could drop them down to 25 and 24. The Knicks currently have Dallas's first round pick, top 10 protected. The Knicks are 14th in defense now.
14th after tonight.
14th after tonight. Now
that means they went down a spot.
Now they were hovering. They're tied for 13th with Minnesota, and like the difference between them and 12th, Chicago is 113. The Knicks are 113.2, but the difference between them and 19th is 0.4. So they're 113.2, 113.2 per 100 possessions, and then the Raptors are 113.6 per 100 possessions. So
they are a
nice little cluster that they're in.
Yeah, they're a middle of the pack defensive team. What's their net rating at right now? Still 9th, right?
Yes, still 9th, the net rating. And for all of the ball handling or ball movement crew, well, that came out weird. The ball movement crew out there that is wanting, shout out Manscaped, that wants the Knicks to pass the ball more. They're up to 29th in assist ratio.
Hey!
Up from last. Still last in assist percentage, but
giddy up.
There you go. Progress is progress.
Progress is progress indeed. Thank you, Andrew, for the stats update.
You're very welcome. By the way, you guys apparently missed a Patreon, not a Patreon, a super chat the other day from
Frank. We did. I thought we were gonna. Oh my god, I thought we were gonna talk about that with Jeremy. We forgot.
Yeah, some other things were talked about with Jeremy, which great show yesterday. Not complaining. We will wrap up today's show with that conversation. So
okay,
that'll be a fun.
That will be a fun one. Thank you, Andrew, as always. And then if you're, I know Andrew didn't mention it, but if you're a good old fashioned sort and you just want to think about where the team's record is, the Knicks currently in terms of win percentage are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th best record in the NBA. It's amazing. Sky could be falling one day. The next day you're looking up being like, you know what? Not that bad. Not that bad. Let's keep it going. Thank you again, Andrew.
I have to scroll all the way up. Got to give me a minute.
That's okay. Can I say what I'm watching on my television, which is behind my laptop? The Mavs, and I've seen this guy before, and I've never commented on it. The Mavs mascot, as best as I could tell, and he's shooting something out of a cannon into the crowd. I'm assuming it's T-shirts. Maybe it's bags of shit, for all I know. Looks like a Power Ranger.
What game are you watching?
The Mavs.
The Power Rangers are there? Oh, okay.
The Mavs mascot is a Power Ranger. How funny would that be, though, if they replaced the T-shirts from the T-shirt cannon with bags of duty? See, now that would be fun.
Ball handling and bags of duty. We're covering our bases here tonight on the post game.
See, I like fun.
Look, I'm proud of you. You found fun. I'm very proud of you.
You're telling me you wouldn't laugh if you saw a crowd?
No, I would not laugh. No, and I know that this is just like how you think of the entertainment. We were joking about this in the playback tonight, that John's version of in arena entertainment is someone sitting at a table and like reading stats off of cleaning the glass. No music, no nothing. Just right. And the rest of us who paid hundreds of dollars to go to an arena want a T-shirt thrown at us, or want to guess a game, or figure out what hat you're supposed to choose when they like switch the cups around or switch the hats around on the screen, and on under what hat is the baseball under, No. Been a while since
read stats or have cannons alternating between parkas and bags of duty, and you try to get the parka in case you get then hit with the. All right,
did you see the movie Triangle of Sadness?
No, not yet. I want to see it though. I know it got nominated today.
Nominated for Best Picture. There's a scene that, judging by what you just said, you would enjoy.
Oh, great! Now I'm looking forward to seeing it even more.
There you go. We're caught up. Shout out. They're now giving. There's a super chat that is literally just hashtag ball handling crew. And this is right after Dan Hidalgo, who's our next super chatter, said I've come a long way in my public speaking, even though I went to school for broadcasting. So glad I'm coming a long way with my public speaking.
Congratulations, Andrew.
Hashtag ball handling crew.
Dan Hidalgo. All right. Who had iHeart with 2 blocks late in the fourth to win the game on their bingo card? Yeah, that bingo card doesn't exist. Listen, scrap and claw. Whatever's going to get you there. Scrap and claw. That's all I care about. Thank you, Dan. Hush Zoo, iHeart is him for today. Him or he? Are we Raptors to the Cavs? That's a good one. Seems like we match up pretty well against them. Haha. Yeah, I mean, like, I know the last game they played against the Cavs, who was it? Was it Garland was out? Or someone was out. One of the big four was out. I think it was Garland. It doesn't matter. It was still a big win then. It was a big win today. Necessary win. Maybe, yeah, I actually don't mind how they match up against the Cavs. I think they match up pretty good. When the Cavs aren't hitting 8,000 threes, which I know they did the first time we played them this year. Thanks, Hush. Appreciate it. Robert Cross, it's your boy John. I think there is something to Deuce McBride. Nice to see him contribute on the hardwood of the Mecca tonight. Hashtag 53 wins. I think you can argue... I don't say this is Deuce's biggest game as a Knick, biggest performance as a Knick, because whatever his stat line was, like, it wasn't that robust, but he made meaningful contributions. And I think, like, if teams are going to disrespect him as an offensive player, which they have every right to do based on how he's performed thus far, he needs to make contributions like this. He had the 1-3 and he had 3 assists. So, that's, excuse me, no, he didn't have the 1-3. He was 1 for 2 from the field and he must have made a free throw. Yeah, he was 1 of 3 from the line. So that wasn't so good from Deuce. But no, good game from him. If I was a betting man, I would bet that after the trade deadline, he is going to become a situational player. That would be my guess. We'll see. Maybe tonight changes their thinking. Who knows? Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it as always. D Zilla, what's going on, D? Despite uncertainty and hysteria, this team is still overachieving. Yes, we are. Thank you for talking sense. We all know the Knicks aren't winning a chip yet. Let's enjoy the roller coaster ride. I don't want to be negative. I've enjoyed this season a lot. I think I have, I'll just say I have not loved the conversation around the team this year. Because again, I'll go back to the main, my main theme, I think, of this season is like and I'm including myself in this for sure. I'm not absolving myself of what I'm about to say, but I do think we as Knicks fans maybe do need to get used to what mediocrity feels like, looks like, smells like, tastes like, all that stuff. Like when you're a mediocre team, like you're gonna have losses that just feel inexplicable, and then you're gonna have some great wins, and like that's kind of just like I think what happens. Because if you felt great about everything and you felt great about like, you'd be better than a mediocre team. They're a mediocre team. We hope that they're on the good side of mediocrity and not on like the downside of mediocrity. Like you could say the Bulls are a mediocre team, and it's better to be a good mediocre team than a bad mediocre team. And I don't think they have the talent yet to be better than what they are, but we'll see. Thanks, Diesel. I appreciate that comment a lot. Man, as I'm watching the Wizards just gave a ball away to Luka Doncic, who's not going to go to the foul line with a chance to take the lead. It's frustrating. Forgot NYC. Couldn't do anything but laugh at the RJ miss. LOL. Look, RJ had a nice game. Finished the game with an air, or what was almost an air ball. Started the game by falling on his ass. That was a moment. Remember that? When he just fell down? Oh, man. RJ is going to be fun. He's a good player. Christian Finnegan, what's going on, Christian? Great to hear from you, man. I don't mean to pee in the vibes, but RJ has to be the most blocked player in the league. Is that a stat that could be looked up? It is. It's not a stat where you could. I have looked for this stat many times on NBA.com/stats, their main stats website. I can't find it on there. There's like another page where you could find block shots in like, I think like certain situations. But no, I can't find it. He gets blocked a lot. I agree with that. But he also drives the lane a lot. And like, it used to get under my skin a lot. Of the things that bother me about RJ now, that has actually moved further down the list. But yeah, it's fair to be concerned about that. That's fair. But it's part of the process for him. And he doesn't get blocked as much as he used to. Chris Carter, what's going on, Chris? I've got an amazing stat, I think. Sean might like. Oh, okay. Julius Randle is currently averaging more points than anyone who is averaging less points than him. I want you to react to this, Andrew, because I want to look something up.
This is a great joke, by the way, Chris. If you know, you know. If you don't, go rewatch Casual Friday for one of the funniest moments I've ever had on a podcast.
I did not get a chance to listen to the whole episode.
I'll explain it.
No, I know. I know what you're talking about because I know I'm familiar with the part that this is referring to.
The joke, okay.
If you want to explain it for anybody else, feel free.
Well, let me react and then I'll explain. You said you wanted me to react to something.
I wanted you to react to something that I'm looking up right now.
Oh, so while you're looking it up, I will explain.
I needed you to filibuster.
Producing on the fly. So when it was Sean's turn to give his box in one topic, apparently on the Twitter, there was pushback to Jalen Brunson, calling him a selfish player, that he's not a real point guard, should have just got Quickley. We'd rather have other players, and the lack of gratefulness that we've got a point guard finally was very prominent in the Twitter streets that Sean likes to argue and be on the front lines of here for us at Knicks Film School. Shout out to KFS Study Hall every weekend with him and Chris Persianen. So he was looking up some stats and he quoted like what Jalen Brunson averages per game. And then I guess the way he sorted it, he was like, he also has the most assists in the league, which then caused all three of us other casuals, Mensa, XJ, and I. And we were like, wait, what? And so while he was continuing to make his point, we looked it up like ourselves on Basketball Reference, whatever stat page. Is like, so there's like 13 other guys that have more assists than him. But to your point, like he has a lot of assists. Like we're trying to soften the blow. Then he's like, I have to correct what I did. I sorted it by guys that have only averaged Jalen Brunson's 6.3 assists and whoever is less than him. So he's the most of guys that have averaged at least 6.3 assists. So he has the most assists. And the joke was like, for players that are averaging less assists than Jalen Brunson per game, he has the most assists. And that is why that joke is hilarious. So good job, Chris.
This is what I wanted to say for Julius Randle. Julius Randle currently has the 4th most points in basketball this year. Not averaging, obviously, but he has the 4th most points in basketball, and he has the 2nd most rebounds in basketball. So, like, I think for any coaches out there still considering Julius Randle's all-star candidacy, I think the way that you factor in the fact that the guy does just not miss games, that's the way you factor it in. 4th most points, 2nd most rebounds, and I actually wouldn't be shocked if he was pretty high up there in assists. The 47th most assists in the game. You know, not terrible.
Jalen Brunson still at 14th in assists per game. The assist total. Yep, 283.
Man, Nikola Jokic has the 2nd most assists in the league this year. It's wild.
3rd.
Total assists.
Yeah. Trae Young is 424. Tyrese Halliburton is 409.
And Nikola Jokic has 415.
Oh, this isn't updated with what he's played tonight. So
it's a bad job by you.
I'm sorry.
Terrible job,
I'm producing your post game. I should be watching basketball and stuff.
You know what they call that?
What?
Call that an excuse.
It's a good one, too. All right, fine. John, you produce it. Go ahead.
Please, God, no.
God, yeah. That's what I thought.
I hate you. Thanks, Chris, for leading us down that fucking rabbit hole. Dom the Dentist, Julius gets my gold crown for the day. RJ gets the root canal. Man, it's a lot of RJ hate tonight. Come on. I'm the one who's supposed to be doing the RJ hate. Tibbs needs his brain x-rayed for bringing Julius back so quickly in the 4th. I mean, I don't have an issue. I didn't have a huge issue. Benji said in the playback he would have liked to see Obi for another minute and a half. Look, it's a fair quibble. Especially since the offense kind of stagnated for a little while and the Cavs got back in the game. But like a game like that, for the way Julius played, like you want him in there, and Hartenstein was great. Like you wanted him in there, you know, like Obi came and did his job, and his job was in 10 minutes. It's not perfect. And I'm not even saying it was necessarily the right decision. Like just because they won doesn't make it the right decision. Maybe if he had left Obi Toppin in there longer, they would have won going away. Who knows? You know, so it's a fair quibble. It's not one that I personally am going to be bothered by. Thank you, Dom. Fargo Tufo. The doubters can't say we haven't beaten a healthy, good team this year. This was a lot of fun. Yes, it was. Watching on playback is fun, but stressful. ITOFTS. Help me out, Andrew. I'm so slow on the uptake. ITOFTS.
ITOFTS. I think. What?
Is the FTS free throws? I don't know.
Someone in the chat help us out. ITOFTS.
Keep it going, and then we'll
ITOFs. I'm gonna think about that. Oh, I'm too old for this shit.
Oh, I am too old for this. See, I'm too old for any of the shit, for figuring out acronyms, right? Acronym? Is it an acronym? Yeah, I think it's an acronym.
Yes.
I should know that. Keith, I really still can't believe we found a way to hold on. Come on. When Donovan Mitchell was bringing up the ball, it was just a matter of how. It wasn't a matter of whether we were going to lose the game. As the Mavs lose to the Wizards on their home court, thank goodness for that. I'm so happy the Wizards pulled this one out. Anyway, this team makes me feel a million emotions in a single game. Shout out to Julius, and the shout out to Hart for actual clutch defense. Let's go KFS. Thank you, Keith. Really appreciate that. Very generous and kind of you to say that. Mavs draft pick keeps getting better. Love it. Dan Hidalgo, another win streak incoming. Why the streaks? Well, the last stretch they had the one loss amidst 7 wins. Hopefully this is not the one win amidst several losses. The Boston game is going to be so freaking hard. It's going to be so. I mean, they're going to Boston, and Boston is now coming off 2 losses in a row. They rested everybody tonight, and they lost to the Heat in what was all I saw was that it's a close game, and I know they rested a lot of guys. I didn't look at the box score for that. And before that, last night, so second night back-to-back, which would explain why they rested everybody tonight, they lost to Orlando for, I believe, the third time this year. So, like, you're probably going to get an angry Boston team, a rested Boston team. Like, I am not going to go crazy if they lose against Boston. But we did learn today that Kevin Durant is going to be out for a couple weeks, at least more. And he's going to be out for this game that we're playing against Brooklyn on Saturday. That's a game, like, I know, listen, Brooklyn's playing out of their minds right now. Kyrie's playing like a top 10 player in the league of late. I mean, his fourth quarter that he had against, oh my God. He had a fourth quarter against someone that was unbelievable, and then he played an entire game against the Warriors that was unbelievable. Like, he's been out of his mind. That's not going to be an easy game. That's going to be a really, 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 really hard game. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm saying it right now. I hope they take Boston down to the wire, and that's a competitive game. I'm not going crazy about the Boston game. The Brooklyn game is what I have circled now, and then we can move on from there. Because then I believe they have 4 straight games at home, starting with LeBron James and your Los Angeles Lakers. Mitchell Berger, what's going on, Mitchell? Biggest win of the season. Been a rough night for me, but really glad the Knicks and KFS can make things a little better. Thank you, iHeart. Mitchell, I'm sorry it's been a rough night for you. I hope nothing is too bad. And if something is really not good, then, I'm glad we could be a distraction. And, yeah, you got all the love of the KFS community coming your way. So, shout out to you, man. Thanks, Mitchell. David Crockett, what's going on? My main man, David Crockett. If iHeart wants to bring this verb, especially on the glass, I would like that. Thank you very much. Seriously, long before the last play, he was good. It was his best before the last play. It was his best game of the season, bar none. 100%. It was his best game of the season, and I'm like, look, I mean, someone left him in down the stretch. It's a good decision. Just saying. Thank you, David. Appreciate it as always. Juan Sex 51. I love this name. Knicks match up well with this Cavs team, yes. To be honest, none of their wings, besides Mitchell, gets minutes for Tibbs. Non-factors at their 3. Horrible. Yeah, they need a wing, and they don't have anything left to trade for a wing. It's interesting because they have Karis LeVert, and like there are some people who will never let me live certain Karis LeVert comments down. I've praised Karis LeVert in the past as being, pretty good player, and I think he is a pretty good player. But it's incredible that he is like unequivocally at no higher than 5th in the pecking order for this team, and yet they're still desperate for a 3 because he's not the sort of 3 that they need. What they need is for Isaac Okoro to be able to knock down a corner 3, or at least be good enough that teams could guard him, and they don't have that. I think they're down. They're down someone. They're down a wing who plays for them. I forget which one. I get their wings confused, if I'm being honest. But yeah, they could use a guy like Quentin Grimes, that's for sure. Or Emmanuel Quickley, for that matter. Boomer Poems. What's going on, Boomer Poems? I just noticed that Jimmy Butler didn't play for the Heat tonight. So, good win by them. I guess the most value we get out of an 8th overall pick is that drafting Randle's replacement might have lit that fire that got him where he is today. That's such a fascinating way to look at it, and I've never looked at it that way. Great job by you. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like, look, regardless of what your stance is on the Obi thing, the Obi Randle thing, Tibbs, the front office, like everybody, you could bring everybody into it. It's impossible not to feel bad for Obi Toppin. Because that dude, I don't know if he's what, I don't know if he's what people maybe envisioned coming out of college. Like, again, don't forget, he was supposed to be the surest thing coming out of that draft. And he hasn't been. That is neither here nor there when you just consider, like, he's clearly an NBA player. He's a good NBA player. He's a contributor for a team off the bench that should be playing more than he's playing. He's shown enough to play more than he's playing, even if his fit may not be perfect. So I feel bad for Obi. But yeah, maybe. You might be right on that. Thanks, Boomer Poems. Appreciate it. Forgotten NYC. Cavs draft well, but man, was Okoro a miss. Andrew, you want to hop up for 1 sec?
Hi.
Let's go back.
Go ahead.
So Obi's draft was 2020 NBA draft?
Yep.
Okay. So the Cavs, they were the team that everybody thought was going to draft Obi Toppin, and that we were going to trade up with maybe to get Obi Toppin, whatever. They had the 5th pick after Edwards, Wiseman, LaMelo Ball, and then Patrick Williams, maybe also. So the Cavs took Okoro 5th. Okongwu went 6th. Killian Hayes went 7th. Obi Toppin 8th. Denny Avdia, I think we still don't quite know what he is, 9th.
Same spirit as Okongwu is where I'd put Avdia. Like a rebound machine that doesn't really have an offensive bag.
Who? Avdia?
Yeah. Like same spirit.
Avdia's a good player. Jalen Smith 10. And then the guy that I think even maybe more than Halliburton because of what's transpired in terms of getting Mitchell, and obviously they have Garland, maybe even the regret more than Halliburton is Devin Vassell, who went 11th to the Spurs. That's probably the guy that you're losing sleep over. Josh Green would look pretty good in a Cavs uniform. He fell to 18th. And then you go down further and you got Maxey, you got Quickley, and obviously would the Cavs be favorites to win it all if they had Des Bane?
You think Des Bane is still a Cav if they've like the Donovan Mitchell trade then happens?
Well, maybe if he's not a Cav, maybe. Well, no, I was going to say maybe Markkanen still is, and Markkanen's about to be an all-star, but Markkanen, they need it for salary.
Here's the tough part about doing this is the draft for Mobley, so it's tough to be like, oh, they whiffed on Okoro, which I agree with Forgot NYC sentiment here. But then the next year they hit on Mobley, they signed Markkanen into a 1-year deal, They were able to. So many other dominoes fell after this draft.
And maybe whether it's Vassell or Vassell probably wouldn't made a meaningful difference in his first year, but like maybe if they had Bane, maybe they don't finish with as bad a record where they were able to draft Mobley. So yeah, that's fair.
I think someone hacked the KFS account.
Why?
So people on YouTube, people listening, I should say, go to YouTube and see. Somebody said something about Carmelo Anthony, and then the KFS account just went all caps and just started like arguing in the chat. I don't know who would have done that, defended Carmelo Anthony in all caps, but on behalf of Knicks Film School,
I thought you were serious for a second.
No, I don't know who did that, but Carmelo Anthony, good basketball player. Congrats on it's the 9-year anniversary. So shout out to Melo of the 62-point game in the Garden, one of the greatest nights in MSG history.
I was watching that.
Some might say.
I was watching that game on it couldn't have been more than. I legitimately think it was like a 10-inch TV. It was in my now wife's old bedroom at her house in Long Island. I watched that game.
But I was in college. I specifically remember had a paper due the next morning, and the plan was to get it done before midnight. And I chose instead, when I was told he had 20 in the first quarter, to go to like a local place where the game was playing, and instead like stayed out and pulled an all-nighter instead.
Good for you. Right decision.
Correct decision. I graduated.
Yeah. Greg Moran, absolutely massive W. They needed that. I needed that. We needed that. Big exhale. My favorite comment of the night. I do feel like I needed that as much as I did. My God. Red Sarachek, a little hesitant, or a less hesitant, excuse me. Julius and Grimes equals better offense. Obi with huge minutes. Yes, in his 10, they were huge. Better from 3 than Papa EV.
Papa Ev.
Papa
yeah,
Ev. Oh,
Evan Fournier.
Evan, yeah. Papa Ev. Yeah, Papa Ev. By the way, Sims is 0 from holes. Sims is 0 from holes. I don't know what that means. Just 4 tonight. iHeart, better than Carbone. I don't know. I can't speak to that because I haven't been to Carbone. I'll let you know once I go. Thank you, Red.
Just 4 tonight. There's some codes in that super chat.
Yeah.
Jericho Sims 0 from holes. He had 2 points and apparently has not he's like 13 for his last 13, so he's not missed a shot in a couple days.
That I know.
Couple games.
All
right.
But I agree with the quick decisions for Julius and Grimes. Both of them playing really well. Jeremy Chase, 51.5% versus 36.4% from 3-pointers is the story of this game. Go New York.
Have you seen the movie Holes? That's what he was referencing. So there's a character I think called Zero.
Oh, with an afro?
This is the Shia LaBeouf movie. Yes. Okay. People Google holes from Zero from holes, and you'll understand who we're talking about.
Fantastic job, by the way, Jeremy, pointing out the 3-point percentage discrepancy. Like, I think it's okay to acknowledge that the Knicks probably needed a little bit of luck tonight, and they got it in the form of a lot of made 3-pointers because they did not play perfect ball. And the way the Knicks are right now, down Mitchell Robinson, facing a great team in the Cavs, or at least a very, 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 very good team in the Cavs, you would have thought they would have needed to play perfect ball to win. They didn't play perfect ball. They got a little lucky with the threes. I don't feel bad about it. Thanks, Jeremy.
That's holes. That's Zero from holes. For those who are watching, as a young man with the similar hair to what Jericho Sims has today. So good call, Red.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Pop culture mavens here. Fargo Tufo, where does Randle rank on all-time Julius's? I have him just ahead of Irving and behind Caesar. Well, those are the two that come to mind. Can you think of a fourth Julius?
Literally about to go look up.
Let me see if I can think of one. Julius. I mean, I think of Orange Julius, but that's not a person. That's a drink or a dessert. It's a dessert. Julius
Peppers, the football player.
Julius Peppers. Oh, I remember Julius Peppers.
Yeah, played in the Super Bowl for the Panthers.
Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
And then he went and he played in he went with another team at the end of his career that was pretty good.
The Packers.
Was it the Packers?
And the Bears for that matter. He played in the Super Bowl he didn't play in the Super Bowl with the Bears when they went with Rex Grossman.
I want to make sure I'm not imagining this.
What?
Yeah. Oh, no. That's a bad job by me. I'm going to say it. I can't hide it now. I was thinking of the Ving Rhames character in Pulp Fiction, but that's Jules, not Julius.
Jules, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad job by me. Sorry.
Not a lot of famous Juliuses. So Julius Randle is in the top 3. We'll go with that.
Sure. Put him ahead of Julius Irving. Forgotten NYC. Who's getting 3 stars, Hart or Julius? Julius getting 3. That's without question. Julius gets 3 stars. Hartenstein gets 2. And pretty sure Quickley's going to get 1.
That's correct. That's what I would say would be the correct order.
Yeah.
Okay. So I stayed on because I need to prep you for the next couple of chats. Because Busy, one of our favorite super chatters and Discord people that converses with us a ton and keeps us on our toes and challenges us, he will not be at our town hall tomorrow. So he put all of his topics in the super chats and have nothing to do with tomorrow's with the game tonight. So what I will put up is the thing he left on playback, not on Discord, on playback, and then he put this in the Discord to be like, "This is the vibe I actually have." So he said this when we were, when the game was ending. We going 3-0 next 3. You heard it here first.
I love it.
So that is actually his vibe. Okay,
I love that. That's
and
great.
Then he puts up this first super chat.
Is it fair and reasonable?
Well, hold on. This first super chat.
I can't attend tomorrow's town hall, so tonight's super chat will be the things I wanted to bring up instead of tonight's game. I appreciate. Thank you for the contributions, Busy. Seriously, you're a gem. Share with everyone tomorrow. I'm curious to hear everyone's opinions. Okay, let's get to it. I love it. Is it fair and reasonable to say that this coach's lack of flexibility restricts the front office's talent pool of players that they could go out and acquire? That's a great question. Tibbs has a type, and if you're not his type, you're probably not going to play unless you could fit yourself into the square. Is it square peg round hole? So fit yourself into the round hole. What is Tibbs' type? Tibbs' type is a guy that could defend in. And let me say this, because I think the Hartenstein drop coverage conversation that has kind of gotten out of hand, which shout out to Benji for putting out a nice thread today. I think it's easier to fit into a Tibbs defensive scheme if you're a wing player or just a perimeter player than it is if you're like, he has very stringent requirements of his bigs in a defensive scheme. I think if you're a guard or a wing, or even like a guy like Julius Randle, as long as you like try hard and give effort, and the other thing about that is if you're a guy who gives the team a decent amount of offense and like real offensive versatility, I think the reason why he stuck with Fournier for so long last year and stuck with him to start this season, other than the fact that Grimes was hurt, is because I think he believed in Fournier's ability to really bend the defense with his shot making. So I think he does have a little bit more leeway on the defensive end. In terms of offense, I think he values, obviously, he wants guys who can create matchup advantages. So, but I feel like those are the traditionally, that's like, there's more of those players in terms of like targetable assets. There's more of those sorts of players than a guy like, I'm trying to think of an example of a guy who is like, has an offensive skill set that is more, I don't know if you want to say nuanced or more like it, I'm trying to think of guys who play on like the Spurs or the Warriors or something, or maybe even the Nuggets. I don't know. I don't have a great example because I don't think that there are as many of those guys out there. Now, Hartenstein is an example of one of those guys who has kind of a unique offensive skill set. And he's come here and it's kind of up until tonight been not good. So I think I'm going to answer this question with like a slight no. And that's only because, again, I'm going to try to be fair to Tibbs, but in fairness to Tibbs, I do think most coaches have a type, and all teams run a certain type of scheme. And it's hard to ask a coach to completely blend. It's like, okay, we're going to give you this player, figure out a way to use the player. Some coaches are obviously better than that at others. Tibbs is arguably as bad at it as anyone. But he also does things well. So that's a good question, Busy. Let's go on.
The chat is saying Julius from Vampire in Brooklyn.
Never see. I'm familiar with the movie. It's an Eddie Murphy movie, right?
Eddie Murphy movie. I also have never seen it.
Never seen it. That was a movie that I believe came at an interesting time in Eddie Murphy's career. He was trying to, if I looked that up, that was that 90 or 91?
95. Yep. 95.
What?
95.
95? So it was that late?
Post SNL, post 80s Eddie Murphy, and pre Dr. Dolittle, Nutty Professor.
Yeah, no, I know that. When was Cop 3?
Beverly Hills Cop 3
was after Vampire, right?
I'm looking at his filmography now.
I think that was after. I thought that was earlier. Man, that's a bad job by me that I was off by so many years. I'll read Busy's comment. Is it fair and reasonable to say that the coach's lack of flexibility? Oh, you already read this one.
What's the next here's one? The next one.
How much faith should we have going into this trade deadline that whoever the front office acquires will be able to be properly integrated into the team? Oh, I think I have a lot of faith. The Cam thing was bizarre from the moment it happened, and it was it was in the middle of what was clearly a breakdown that was like actively happening between the front office and the coaching staff. I do not think, for better or worse, I do think they're pretty much on the same page right now. I'm not worried about that myself.
Beverly Hills Cop 3 was in 94, so the year before Vampire in Brooklyn. But to my point, it's the year after Boomerang.
Yeah.
Or 2 years after Boomerang. And then 90 is another 48 hours. So this transitions into the mid to late 90s when Eddie Murphy had the Nutty Professor, Dr. Dolittle, Bowfinger.
Nutty Professor was like 96 or 97.
96. Well, it's literally the year before.
Man, you know? I thought he was... So Vampire was really after he had been not struggling, but after he had really kind of been on a 5-year fallow period, if not longer.
Well, depends what you call fallow period.
I mean, some of those movies made a lot of money, but like you could argue that after Cop 1, Cop 2, 48 Hours.
Coming to America would be the last.
Coming to America, which is, I think is the...
Although I kind of like Harlem Nights, so.
Coming to America is I think Coming to America is the funniest Eddie Murphy movie.
Oh, me, same. I co-sign that. Coming to America is it's in my top 10 for funniest ever. It was my number 3 of the decade for 80s comedies. It's like Ghostbuster, Coming to America, and Airplane have like a rotation of like holding the number 1 spot at a certain point. The only other Julius that was mentioned. Have you ever seen the show Everybody Hates Chris?
Yes, I have.
So Terry Crews, the dad on the show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
His name is Julius.
And
then Bowfinger. Okay, now we're into listing Eddie Murphy movies in the chat. Bowfinger, Trading Places.
My God, I forgot Trading Places.
Yeah, that's part of the 80s run that Eddie Murphy had, where he also was like the guy who saved Saturday Night Live for a couple seasons too.
Yeah, 48 Hours, Cop 1, Cop 2, Trading Places, and Coming to America is the best comedy decade. I mean, you probably have to go back to the 50s for any single actor to have had a better comedy decade. And I don't think anybody comes close. I'm sure people will be like, Will Ferrell, Chris
Bill
Farley.
Murray. Bill Murray would be the one I'd compete with, but I would take Eddie Murphy over him. So.
Murray had Stripes and Ghostbusters and Groundhog Caddyshack.
Day. Oh, Groundhog Day's in the 90s, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That Groundhog Day was 92. And Caddyshack, I believe, was 79. So we can't put those together. And Murray also had some misses in that time period. Like Eddie didn't miss for 6 years, 5-6 years, whatever it was. But then after that, the next big hit was Nutty Professor. We're really going off the rails.
We are off the rails. Thank you, Busy, for the super chats. I'll let you read.
Greg Film Stuff. What's up, Mac? Didn't really like iHeart watching Mobley save that ball in the corner, but he did provide some clutch defense to seal the win, so I'll take it. Yeah, he wasn't perfect. Randle has won me over, and the Knicks actually don't implode in the third quarter. Well, they tried to implode at first, and then we were watching that beginning of the third quarter on playback, and we were like, oh, my God. I think Benji actually said it was like that was the worst beginning of a third quarter that we've seen this year. It was bad. And then they rebounded, so credit to them. Thanks, Greg. Always appreciate your generous contributions. Danny Gardner. I thought RJ actually had a good game against a tough matchup, but had some loud, bad moments. I wasn't seeing the RJ hate coming tonight. I do think he had an okay game. I'm not going to go good. I think he had an okay game against a tough matchup. I'll take this bad RJ game every time, especially on defense. Yes, that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. If this is the floor for RJ, sign me up for it. Thank you, Danny. Carolina Knicks fan, Obi got a better mental than me. I don't know how I could take being efficient and still being pulled the way he does. God bless him. Happy with the W. Yeah, it's tough. The elephant in the room that's not going away anytime soon. Unless they trade him.
Well, that's how they make it go away, is they trade him.
Then it'll go away. Kevin Danishevsky forwards with a 25% usage to have a better points per shot attempt than Julius Randle. Jimmy Butler, Jason Tatum, DeMar DeRozan, Kawhi Leonard. I love Jalen Brunson, but his slump entails that we go all in for Julius. You mean for the All-Star campaign? I don't know how many coaches still haven't voted. I think if he gets in, it's going to be because people appreciate the durability. I think that's going to be the tiebreaker. And I think the other reason why, much lower down the list, this win was perhaps such a big win for the Knicks. If they're still in 7th, I don't think they're going to get up to 6th. If they could be in 7th when the final votes are tallied, I think people are going to have a tough time not giving him an all-star. And he'd be the one. I agree. Red Sarachek, great win. My one qualm. Can we make free throws fun again? Yes.
Good Lord, yes.
Yes. If they go 85%, Tibbs should dance to a song of Obi's choice or has to wear a suit the next game. Great win. Is there a single coach in the league that still wears a suit? I don't think so.
Nope. None of them do. They got rid of the suits during the bubble.
I mean, they still can wear a suit.
You can, but they got rid of the requirement to wear a suit. I personally like that they don't wear suits anymore.
It's weird when I see now like old pictures of Tibbs wearing a suit. He looks just strange. Thanks, Red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Busy with another one. Is it fair and reasonable to say that Obi and Julius don't work on defense because not enough time is given to develop chemistry and that they would figure it out given more of a chance? I don't know if you can overcome certain fundamental issues about the two of them defensively. So I do think it would need to be a scheme that switches a lot more because drop's not going to work against them. We talked about this. I know you heard because you were on the playback, but we talked about this a lot throughout the night about how like people hate drop, people don't want to see any more drop. Well, there were at least 3 or 4 moments tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, where they did something other than drop and then they got beaten because somebody made a pass. And like, it's hard to guard good offensive teams in the NBA.
It's twofold because when you're not playing drop, it implies that you're switching. And when it's Hartenstein or whether it's Sims or even Julius Randle, it sets up Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell with a one-on-one matchup in a switch, which it can lead to a blow by and gets to the rim, or as you just mentioned, a kick out to a wide open defender if there's help.
Yeah, or you come to the level, which they did several times tonight, and then that opens up the pocket pass to a guy like a Mobley or whoever's setting the screen. There's always give and take. I think I'm going off on a tangent, not to avoid the question, but to just imply like there are other ways that they'll be able to defend with those two on the floor that is not one of Tibbs' traditional preferred defenses. I think he's shown you of late that he has flexibility in his bag when he doesn't have his ideal personnel. We've seen that this game. We saw this the last game. It's a matter of can it work well enough to make the offensive benefit worth it. And I think the biggest concern that I would have is defensive rebounding. I think against certain teams, which is tough to say because Julius is a really good defensive rebounder, but I think, I don't know. I don't think it's a chemistry thing though. I don't think like these guys are going to like play together enough and then just find something because Julius, that's the downside of Julius. I don't know that Julius is a guy who's, I don't know. Have we seen him develop defensive chemistry with anyone? Maybe. I don't know. I think that would be tough.
I think it's an important distinction in these lineups. Julius is playing the 5. So that's who you're matching up. The chemistry you're matching up is not that Obi would then replace Mitch. It's that Obi then replaces Julius and then Julius has to replace Mitch. And it's a whole different scheme.
The other part of it is like, if you watch them defend, it is obvious to me that they try to take Julius out of the action as much. And if he's taken out of the action, they try to keep him out of the action. Like, they don't want to involve Julius Randle defensively. They want to try to mitigate Julius Randle's presence on the floor defensively. So if you're introducing another wild card into the equation, which in this case would be Obi, and forcing Julius to essentially play the 5 and have more of a role in that way, I do think you're forcing Julius to do more, to think more, to be more active on defense. I think that's tough for him. I don't think that is his strong suit. I think they recognize that that's his strong suit, not his strong suit. All of this being said, does it mean they shouldn't try it more? Like, no. I'm not going to disagree with that.
I agree.
I don't think it's a chemistry thing. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. Are these Knicks about to surprise us again and finish strong into the All-Star break? Man, what is the best record you could possibly envision them having going into the All-Star break?
Don't ask me.
Yeah, it's true.
Then I get cursed, and then I hope they do. I'm the one that said I'd sign up for 5-9, and they're 1-2 since then. So,
I mean, they go to Boston, and then Brooklyn is essentially a home game, and then it's 4 straight at home: Lakers, Miami, Clippers, Philly. Road trip: Orlando, Philly, and then Utah, Brooklyn, home. Both of those are home at Atlanta. So essentially, after the Boston game, because again, I'm counting the Brooklyn game as a home game, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home, 3 road. So, be a great time to start playing good at home. I'll say that. Robert Cross with another one. It's your boy, John. Does Obi get more burn after the All-Star break? If not, is his future with the Knicks finished? Well,
my quick answer is no.
It's interesting because Ian Begley's incapable of being wrong about reporting because he doesn't report anything that he's not sure of. Reported earlier this year that they're not. I mean, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I took it as him essentially reporting that the Knicks have very serious qualms about re-signing both Immanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin to extensions, and that it would seem like the smart money is that they are going to look to move on from one of those players for that reason. If indeed they are now back on the Immanuel Quickley bandwagon and are not trading him, that's not something that's been discussed, I think, much in terms of the rationale or part of the rationale for potentially looking to deal Obi Toppin. I don't know.
In the same spirit, next question.
Fargo Tufo, what contract would you give Immanuel Quickley this offseason? I'm sticking with my guns. I've been saying 4 for $64. And I think that's high. I think I'm high on that. And when I went on with Jake Fisher on his show, what was it, a week and a half ago, the biggest takeaway from that I took was that he suspected that a lot of the mid-tier contracts that we have gotten used to seeing, the contracts in that, $14 to $18 million range, right? Basically above the mid-level, but below 20 plus a year. He thinks that those are going to start to go away, at least in terms of longer-term deals. And he thinks we might see more of players maybe taking shorter deals for more money to then hit the market sooner and try to reestablish themselves, or settle for more security with a longer length, but at a lower number. Do I think Immanuel Quickley is going to settle for 4 years at essentially the mid-level? No, I do not. Do I think they could reach a compromise with Immanuel Quickley in which they give him, say, 2 years, $30 million? I don't know. Would he take that? I don't know.
So let's hope this is a conversation we are discussing this offseason. That they've extended Immanuel Quickley for X dollar amount.
I think we will be. I don't think they're going to trade him. I really don't. Hamdi M, wait until you have child number 3, John. Go Knicks. Hamdi? Not happening.
Don't you put that evil on him, Ricky Bobby.
Dude, we had, oh my God. There's like 8 seconds a day where I look at my youngest. I'm like, yeah, she's cute. You know.
Okay. So it's only 8 seconds.
And then the 9th second happens.
Oh, okay.
And then the 10th, and then the other however many seconds are in the day.
It's funny. Yeah. My group chat from high school today was sharing videos of their kids, and I had to be a jerk.
Get a better fucking group chat.
That group chat that I'm in with you also share videos of your kids, and I get my fix, and then I go back to doing whatever I want.
I share maybe one video of my children a month.
Right. I'm saying this was that day of the month where they were sharing a video of their kids.
All right. You made it sound like it was a normal thing.
Oh, no. It literally is just like, hey, look, my son just did this and he wanted to wave at the camera. And then it led to my daughter did this. And my other friend whose kid is much younger was like, oh, we're feeding him. And I, being the jerk, took a video of my apartment and was like, oh, yeah, I have no kids. And then they just had to rub it in, What
am I looking at right now? I'm looking in my dining room, in which all of the walls are written on in crayon, marker, and pen. It's fantastic. Robert Cross, first time, long time, John. Do you think Collins will walk back his crusade to trade Emmanuel Quickley? It had me nervous. Hashtag 53 wins. They're not trading IQ. IQ's not going anywhere.
No matter how hard Jeremy tries to.
No matter how hard Jeremy tries to.
No.
Another one from Robert Cross. You're amazing. I'm watching all this RJ slander and collecting receipts. And don't forget, you must demand that the apology is louder than the criticism. That's a requirement.
Right, Macri.
He'll be fire post All-Star break. I'm going to be loud. Hashtag 53 wins. Well, you know what? If he's fire post All-Star break, then the Knicks are going to get the 6th seed because he's the missing fucking piece. If RJ could be the guy that they didn't trade for Donovan Mitchell, again, I'm not fully convinced that was an intentional decision by them and that it wasn't them getting the rug swept up from under them. Whatever. We're here. Hashtag we here. Yeah. If he could be the guy that everybody like you seems to think he could be, forget 6th seed. There'll be a team that puts a square into a team in the first round.
He agrees. Hashtag 53 wins.
There you go.
Yeah.
Be him, RJ Barrett. Be him. Rob DeLusma. What's up, JM? And our man, Andrew. Great win. Still stumping for a new head coach. Of course you are. Deep looking within your hearts. You know it's true. Mad love, Knicks fan. I mean, you obviously not getting me on that.
Mad love.
Yeah. Mad love.
Yeah.
Parrish Duggar. IQ is clearly the closer over RJ and an untouchable. Well, listen, there's like 3 untouchables in the league. But yeah, no, they shouldn't be looking to trade him. Is he the closer over RJ? I think RJ made 2 big defensive plays late. I would have liked to have Quickley guarding Darius Garland on that possession that ended up in an N1. But
I'm there. It's no disrespect to RJ. I hope it's not any disrespect to RJ that Quickley's a better defender, and I think just flat out needs to be out there. Can
we just like with all the caveats, roll everything, like injury, everything? Quickley's been the better player this year.
Yeah.
It's just that's
granted. Quickley's tough start lasted longer than RJ's tough start. There's another end of the floor that I've just been more impressed with Quickley. And in this conversation, in this context, it's less that I need him closing on offense. I need him closing on defense down the stretch.
Yep, exactly. Red Sarachek with another one. IQ's IQ puts most IQs to shame. Plus minus leader. 16 in a row. Has he? No, that can't be. He hasn't been the plus minus leader for them 16 games in a row. That can't be.
I will look that up.
Is there a way to look that up?
Just going one by one. I'm just going to go past couple to see if he is. And if he is, great.
I will, however, look up a stat that I have looked up a few times this season, and I'm curious where they are now, which is where, excuse me, Emmanuel Quickley ranks league-wide in terms of plus minus, because he was pretty high up there. I believe last time I checked, he was 25th, and I would not be surprised if he was a little higher than that. Now, you want to take a guess at what he is? I have right here. On the year, total plus minus.
Plus.
Well, you have to guess the number, but you guess the rank.
Oh, where he is, he's number 1.
No, for the league. The league.
He's not number 1 in the league? I thought he was, like, for a while, number 1.
Emmanuel Quickley?
Yeah.
No, the number 1 plus minus player in the league is the guy who's going to win his 3rd straight MVP, Nikola Jokic.
Oh, Jokic, okay.
And the 2 players behind him are 2 players on his team, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Aaron Gordon. And then after that, you have 2 Celtics, Jason Tatum and Derek White. No, Emmanuel Quickley is 20th in the league in plus minus.
That's close.
Which is excellent. And the next highest Nick is Mitchell Robinson at 38.
This Quickley stat seems real.
That he's their leader in plus minus 16 games in a row?
I'm 6 games in, and he is their plus minus leader 6 games in a row.
If that's true,
okay, no. We're at the Detroit game, and Jalen Brunson was a plus 20, Emmanuel Quickley was a plus 6.
Okay.
But
he's been their plus minus leader for 6 in a row?
Since then. So this is now 5 games later.
That's really freaking impressive.
Mm-hmm. That he's played in. Yeah, that's still he played in he was plus 6 against Detroit. Julius Randle had 42 and a plus 14. This is semantics. Emmanuel Quickley's been great. I was just like surprised.
How about here? Stat, look, here's what you need to know. Here are the 3 players immediately ahead of Emmanuel Quickley in the plus minus stats: Ja Morant, Kevin Durant, and Darius Garland. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Forgot NYC # ball handling crew.
Shout out to our friends at Manscaped.
Love it. Haitian Ferg with another one. Crazy how Tibbs haters have made it nearly impossible to give credit when it's due. Some of y'all would rather lose to be right. I'm not going to comment on that. He isn't perfect, but for this roster, it works. Y'all need to relax. I mean, look, I said it in the last post game. It is what it is. He's not in. He gives people a lot of reasons to dislike him. And I do think it takes either a certain type of personality, or a certain type of, I don't know what, to like him, to want to root for him, to support him. Everybody seems to hate him. It's amazing. Except media people, which has always been interesting to me. Like real media people who are around the league every day. Don't have this view, which I find interesting. Johnny Hirsch, what's going on, Johnny? Hey, John. Great energy at MSG tonight. I'm starting to prefer IQ minutes over RJ at both ends of the court. Seems to be a better fit in the top 5. Running with this theme. Thanks, Johnny. It's Quickley's pretty good. Patrick Perino. Nice to see Obi playing well again. That being said, I feel like he might be out for a more versatile wing forward. The problem is, like, if you are trading him, you need to replace those minutes. And I do not think for a second the Knicks are going to be comfortable having Jericho Sims play backup 4 minutes for the rest of the year. If they trade Obi Toppin, if they trade him, they are going to either in the deal that they trade him or in another deal acquire a player who can be a backup power forward for them. What are you laughing at?
No, so Red Zarachek, who had the Quickley stat, just put in the chat. I'm not going crazy. I saw it on Twitter. It can't not be true.
Twitter's on
Twitter. It has to be real. I agree with you, Red. Like, I've had that happen to me a ton where it's like I saw a stat, didn't fact check it, it just seemed researched, and it messes me up later.
And by the way, just to finish this point, the reason why ultimately, even with the contract thing and what I said a few minutes ago about maybe envisioning an Obi trade, why I think it's unlikely is unless Kyle Kuzma is going to get traded, which he's not. there's only one player on the market that we know of, and again, I'm not like forget OG Anunoby. Like, there's only one player on the market that is a 4, and that's Jake Crowder. And I'll tell you one thing: Jake Crowder ain't coming here to play 12 minutes a night, because he'll do the same shit that he is doing in Phoenix and saying like, "Peace, I'll, send me my checks." So like. And like, the Knicks haven't even been rumored as a Crowder team. Now, does that mean they won't trade for Crowder? Who the hell knows? But like, if you're trading for Crowder, you're playing him at the 3 a decent amount, which like do they want to do that? Does he want to do that? Like, I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. That's the biggest argument probably against why an Obi trade would happen. Is Donovan Mitchell a Knick today? Reporting to John. Donovan Mitchell is still not a Knick, but Julius Randle need 4 more wins to get to All-Star break at 500. Which ones can we steal? My wins, if forced to pick 4, can I be a little flexible and say one of the Brooklyn games?
Is Orlando home or away?
It's away. I'm worried about that game.
Should be.
I'll go Brooklyn. One of the Brooklyn games. The Clipper game. I know. The Laker game. The Orlando game. You know what? So I could see them winning all those games. I could see them winning Utah at home. I could see them winning at Atlanta. Like, I could see 6 different wins. Can they
They're going to
win
on... Oh, sorry. I interrupted.
No, that's it, dude. Can they get 4 of the 6 wins I could envision? What?
Well, they're going to win on February 2nd. Hashtag heat culture. Don't worry. Heat culture means Jimmy Butler magically decides not to play for some reason.
I was about to say, yeah, can we get a rest day for the Heat? Jesus.
Yeah.
Ahmad Khalil, what's going on, Ahmad? Raptor War. Jalen Brunson 4.3, Julius Randle 4.1, Mitchell Robinson 3.4, IQ 3.0, Quentin Grimes 1.7, Isaiah Hartenstein 1.2, RJ 0.5. Best Knick team in the past 10 years. Huge upside, unlike the best Melo team.
I agree.
They
now,
have
the highest player on that Melo team was higher than all of these guys, but although Raptor probably doesn't agree with that because Raptor values half-court defense.
I really do think if they got the right guy, and I don't know that guy is out there, I think if they got the right guy, they could really, in the right matchup in the first round, I think they could push a team. I really do believe that.
It all depends who that team is. Like I'd be intrigued if this was the preview of the first round.
I think that would be a fun I think they need another guy. I don't think it would be a great series right now. I think they need another guy.
Yeah.
Oh, LeBron James is 189 points away from tying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. How many games could you look up how many Lakers games there are left until he comes here? Stat just flashed on my screen. Anthony Sixto, IQ's understanding of spacing and timing against bigger defenders has developed by leaps and bounds. Yes, it has. He has become amazing when he puts his head down and he drives, with one exception tonight that we commented on in the playback where I think it was LeVert pulled the chair out from under him. He's been awesome in terms of his decision-making on drives for a really long time now. You have a lot of confidence when he puts the ball on the floor and gets into the paint, which, by the way, is something he's doing a lot more than he did over the first 2 years of his career. Will open even more playmaking opportunities. Yeah. That's the other part of like, oh, can they make the right trade? Like, keep giving Emmanuel Quickley the opportunities he has. We like those opportunities. Those opportunities are not only good for him, those opportunities are good for the team. So, like, can you get a guy who's not going to take away, and that gets back to the Tibbs issue. Like, can Tibbs adjust? Can Tibbs have a more democratic offense? Yeah. Difficult questions.
So LeBron currently is 35 in the game against the Clippers.
Yes, he's 189 away. I think he just hit a free throw, so 188 away. How many games does he have between our game and the Laker game?
the San Antonio game tomorrow.
Okay.
Then he plays Boston on Saturday.
Okay.
And then the night before he plays the Knicks, he plays Brooklyn.
So he's 3 games between now and then?
Mm-hmm. So
all I have in my head is, like, can he get to where he needs 50 points to tie the record against us? And so essentially, there's still time. There's still 9 minutes left in this game. I think he just scored again. So there is a world where he can average 40 over the next 3 games and get to the Garden needing 50 to tie. That would be frightening. I'm not putting it past him. It's San Antonio and who else?
San Antonio, Boston, Brooklyn. The East Coast trip for the Los Angeles Lakers.
And those are games that he'll want to. It's not out of the realm at all. Emil Boumansour, what's going on, Emil? Good to hear from you. What did you think of the refs today? I already said I thought they were okay. I had an issue with a couple of calls down the stretch. By and large, I thought they were fine. Monster game from Randle and Quickley. I feel like the Cavs took Brunson out of the game, so thank God for Randle. I think Brunson's. We could say it. I think Brunson's a little bit of a slump. He had the massive third quarter against Washington. Overall, his game against Washington was good, but other than that, of late, he has struggled a bit, I think. Is that
So I'm trying to think. No, we have a couple more.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm looking at Jalen Brunson's stat. Like, when did the slump start?
Mark Sable, what's going on, Mark? Mitchell still feels like the one that got away from me, but credit to the Knicks for beating a very good, healthy team. Again, we're going to be having the Mitchell conversation for a long time. Just prepare yourself for it. It is what it is. Thanks, Mark. Good to hear from you as always. Will Oliver, just back from MSG. Credit to iHeart. He was big time. Yes, he was. Indeed.
Groucho Marx. We missed one.
Jay Livingston, Julius, Groucho Marx. That's a good one.
And then 4 more.
All right, AR, and then we got the other one from
Frank
the other night. Okay, ARA Rewad. It's been a long time that the leader of the Cam movement didn't say hello, smiley face, and say our guy is being mistreated. Man, I was talking to someone last night about Cam. It's not going to happen. I think you will be able to make everyone else eat crow if he goes somewhere and becomes a real player. Until then, because the entire league, you get this guy for 2 second-round picks. No one wants to give him up.
The Lakers literally just chose Rui Hachimura over Cam Reddish.
They could have had him for 2 seconds, and then they said no. So, like, you could kill the Knicks, you could kill Tibbs, you could kill whoever's here that you want to kill, but, like, you got to kill 29 other GMs because everybody else has the opportunity to get him literally right now, and nobody wants to take the chance. Another one from ARA Rewide. Gents, despite the draft being a little down the line, but any prospects or positions you would want the Knicks to focus on? Shooting. Yeah. Functional shooting. Shooting that could stay on the floor. That's all. SKOE. What's going on, SKOE? Respect to the KFS fam. Thank you. Is it reasonable to say that the Knicks are the best team that has no superstar? If true, then we could be one move away from being a contender. I do think that if they get the right superstar, they could be a contender with one move. Are they the best team without a superstar? I don't know. It's a tough conversation because, like, who's a superstar? We've had that conversation before. We don't need to have it now. Well, let's just go through. Let's really quick. We could do this really easily. The teams ahead of the Knicks in the standings. Boston has a superstar. Denver has a superstar. Memphis, yes. Philly, yes. Milwaukee, yes. Brooklyn, yes. Cleveland. Is Donovan Mitchell a superstar?
It's the first one that I've had pause, but for argument's sake, let's say yes.
And then I'll skip this one and then go to the next 2. Miami, yes. New Orleans, yes, although Zion hasn't played a ton this year.
A superstar that when he plays, yes.
Yeah, and then the teams immediately behind the Knicks, we should just mention too. Phoenix, yes. Booker. Clippers, yes. Dallas, yes. And then the only other teams above 500, Utah and Atlanta. Utah, yes. Atlanta, yes. Utah,
no.
No, but the Knicks are currently 6. No, Sorry, game and a half out of Utah. The question is again with Sacramento, because Sacramento is doing it with De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. I think most people in the league would say that both De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis are better than anyone on the Knicks. But I don't think either of those guys is a superstar. So no, the answer is no.
You'd have Sabonis over Randle?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Barely, but yeah.
Randle's barbecue chicken every time you see Sabonis. So,
GG Nation, why do you think the Knicks lose so much down at the half? I don't know. I don't read too much into those general stats where it's like they have this record if they're down at the half, they have this record. I think they're a team that struggles to come from behind for sure. They're not good at making big pushes because that's not how their offense is built to go on huge 3-point barrages. So that's probably the best answer I have, but I don't make that much of it.
The shooting is my thing. They don't run and hide from teams because like we've been seeing it with Grimes, like the looks that he gets, like it's a night like tonight. It's no mistake that the Knicks actually made a push and had a comeback because they made 17 threes tonight,
Yeah. Maybe my comment about Brunson's slump is a little bit overstated. What did Brunson have tonight?
He had 14 points. So it's 3 games. You are I did look at
3 games.
3 games.
Yes, it's 3 games.
Since the game against the Wizards, which he had 32.
Yeah, against Atlanta, he was 7 of 14 for 19 points. Against the Raptors, he was 6 of 15 for 21 points. It's amazing. We could sit here and be talking about a point guard that's in a slump, and those are his stat lines. And tonight, he had 14 points on how many shots?
11 or 12, something like that.
Okay, so again, if this is the worst shirt from Jalen Brunson, sign me up. Okay.
Yeah.
ARA Rawad with one more. To which draft spot in Obi plus Knicks 2023 pick plus the Dallas pick get you?
This has been a Jeremy special lately. Wondering if you're gonna trade Obi, wait till draft night.
All right. The Mavs lost tonight. They are talk about a team that is in precarious position.
How long is Christian Wood out for?
I don't know. He might be back soon.
So for argument's sake, let's just go with where the standings are now. The Knicks have 20, their own pick, and Dallas would be the 17th pick right now.
I am assuming the Mavs will pick in the late teens. I think the Knicks will pick in the mid-teens plus Obi. Well, I'll lean on what happened a couple of years ago. The Knicks tried to move 19 and 21. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was the Duarte draft. They tried to move 19 and 21 to get up to draft Duarte. Duarte went
14.
And Indiana said no. Now, if you're throwing Obi in, so I guess the point is that 2 picks in the mid to late teens plus Obi Toppin, does that get you in the top 10? Honestly, I don't think it does. I don't.
Duarte was 13, by the way.
13. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, I don't think it does. Red Sarachek, imagine being a Warriors or any other fan and having this type of channel and every night being like Curry dropped 31 instead of 40. Ugh. No other team could bring the juice like this one every night. I agree with that.
Shout out to the Light Years pod who does. They don't do super chats or the way we do it with like basically a mailbag after every game, but they have the same thing where they do a post game and it's, oh no, the sky is falling. We have Steph Curry, Although for the Warriors this season, I'm still waiting to see this team turn it on and like roll off 9 straight or something like that.
It was a rough loss they had against Brooklyn the other night.
Like
I know Kyrie was awesome, but that was a rough loss.
It's funny. We get all in our feelings about the Knicks blowing leads, right? And there's that edited graphic. It's a collage of like what the score graphic was in the corner of the screen when the Knicks had a certain lead, and it's like a collage of like these were all games the Knicks lost, and it's like Knicks up 9, Knicks up 20, Knicks up this, There's a similar collage that has the Warriors, and it's like 7 games and lost. And that's their team this year.
Every fan base in the league has these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Red Sarachek with one more. Thank you, Red. You've been awesome tonight. Time to join the Patreon. Yeah, come. It's fun. It's to get in on these playbacks. I think it's like the price of an expensive cup of coffee a month, and you get all the bonus pods too. When we have a ticker tape parade, KFS has to pregame together. Let's end on a high note. 6 seed upset first round. 7th Avenue gets closed off. Man, if they got the 6 seed and upset someone in the first round, my lord.
That's playing the parade after the 6 seed. Jeez.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And now we're gonna finish up with the question from the other night, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is from Frank Miranda. What's up, Mac? It's your boy Frank from Patreon. Let's do the exercise. Where would you rank RJ in terms of the Knicks' best assets? I got our first, then Grimes, then Quickley ahead of him. That's excluding Brunson and Randle. All right. I want to put aside the first round picks for a second because I had an interesting conversation with I think I could probably just say it. I had an interesting conversation with Fred Katz earlier this year, who talks to a lot of front offices, and he's really, really more plugged in than he lets on, I think. And he was talking to me about how, teams everybody has models for first round picks across the league, and potential first round picks that could be acquired, and so on and so forth. And he was telling me that, generally speaking, again, I don't want to overextend the point, but generally speaking, the further out the picks go, the more teams will project them to just kind of be regress to the mean. So like closer to the 15th pick in the draft, like a 2029 pick, like who the hell knows what's going to happen between here and 2029. So you're going to assume it's probably going to, at this point, you're going to assume it's somewhere in the middle. That said, I think Grimes is higher on the list than RJ as an asset. You think Quickley is a more desirable asset than RJ Barrett?
Post-extension, yeah.
What? I think he's more valuable now, pre-extension, with the possibility.
I'm talking RJ's extension.
Oh, post RJ extension.
Yeah, post RJ extension. RJ's value is like significantly down. He's no longer on. Like, I'm not saying in the sense of like, oh my gosh, he's bad. It's just he's no longer on a rookie contract. He is locked into this number.
Yeah, again, if he progresses like everybody assumes, it's a fair number. Man, I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to put RJ ahead of Quickley as a trade asset. Yeah, wow. I am. And then as far as the picks go, I think RJ is more valuable than their 2023 pick. And I say that wondering if a team wouldn't rather have like the 3% chance at Victor Wembanyama than RJ Barrett, or whatever percent of Scoot, or whichever of the Thompson twins is better. I don't know. Man, am I really going to put RJ second after Grimes? We're excluding Brunson and Randle. I don't know, man. I guess so. I'll put him 2.
Okay. How'd that feel?
Wrong.
Okay.
Feels wrong.
Feels wrong?
Feels wrong.
I disagree for what it's worth.
I think Quickley's higher.
I think Quickley and Grimes are higher.
There's a ceiling with RJ. I still think enough teams would talk themselves into.
Man,
he's averaging 20. He's averaging 20 a game.
If that's the case you're making, then yeah, that's fine. I can't help but laugh. I thought you were actually very generous to RJ in that exercise, and I was wondering if it was like, wait a minute, like I I think they would rather have the wings that are like Quentin Grimes that are more efficient from three and Quickley in his defense. And you had me thinking if I'm being too hard on RJ, and I'm not going to say names, but there's a comment in the chat. John and his RJ hate is gross. And it's like, I thought he was actually really nice to RJ right there. Wait a minute.
I mean, there was a time where you'd rather have a dozen chicken wings than RJ Barrett earlier this year.
And then the rest of the season happened.
I mean, he's in the 32nd, percentile for points per shot attempt among NBA wings this year. So it's the bottom third. And then when you factor in the fact that the defense has not been good. And he's on a $100 million contract. I think, I don't know. Like, the numbers are what the numbers are. Anyway, all right, that was good. I was happy we ended on that. All right, well, this was fun.
It's good to do it after a win. Isn't that nice?
I really did need this. I needed this in the worst way.
And I would imagine the Knicks also needed this.
Probably.
In a way,
In a way. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, please like this video. Subscribe to the Knicks Film School YouTube channel. If you are listening to this in podcast form and you're not subscribed somehow to our pod, subscribe to the pod. And if you really want to be generous, take the extra time to give us a 5-star rating, drop a nice review. And we will be back with more fun and games very soon. Peace out.